Dr. John Lott of the Crime Prevention Research Center, thank you for joining us on One American News, sir.
Oh, great to talk to you again.
And Dr. Lott, in your capacity as president of the Crime Prevention Research Center, I wanted to ask you about this. Iowa has been the latest state to allow people to carry a gun into public places such as grocery stores and shopping malls without prior safety training or a permit in what is generally known as constitutional carry. I guess this goes into effect in July. What do you make of this, sir?
Well, it's part of a growing trend. Iowa's the 19th state, but very soon Tennessee is going to be joining them. The House and Senate in Tennessee's already passed the bill, and it's the governor's bill, and he's already said that he's going to sign it. So there'll be 20 states. And you're going to be able to go and walk all the way from West Virginia to Idaho and from Arizona up to Montana, being able to carry without having to have a permit. There are two major changes that this has over the existing concealed carry laws, and that is it's going to make it possible, let's say, for a woman who's being stalked or threatened to be able to quickly obtain a gun for protection. Right now in a lot of these states, it could take 60 days or more to go through the process to be able to go and get a concealed carry permit. If a woman's being stalked, making her have to wait 60 days, it may be too late for her to protect herself. The other big change it's going to have is the cost. So a lot of these states, it could be ranging from any place from $60 on up for somebody to pay for the permit. The other costs, you're easily talking about something in the $150 range or so. And if there's one thing that's very clear to me, and that is the people who benefit the most from having the option to be able to go and protect themselves are the people who are most likely victims of violent crime. And that overwhelmingly tends to be poor blacks who live in high crime urban areas. You make people have to pay $150 or more to go through the process. Those are the very people who aren't going to be able to legally protect themselves.
Another part of this law in Iowa, I gather, is that people can buy handguns from private non-licensed sources such as websites, gun shows, and individuals without a permit or a background check. Is that part of concealed carry, or is this a different Second Amendment issue we're talking about?
It's a different issue entirely. Up till now, they've had licensing requirements there in Iowa for handguns. Again, this is just something that's really made it costly for law-abiding citizens to be able to go and obtain guns for protection. Anyway, it's I don't think it's going to have any impact on crime rates other than making it so that it's less expensive for the law-abiding citizen who wants to obey the rules to be able to obtain a gun.
So are you surprised by this concealed carry, the growing, popularity of constitutional carry? Constitutional carry, particularly with Iowa the Iowa governor just signing this legislation into law. Is that surprising to you, sir?
Well, it's been part of a trend. Iowa and Tennessee are the fourth states this year to pass it. Earlier, you had Utah and Montana. And there are serious moves in Texas and Louisiana and Nebraska that are going on. So it's quite likely that you may have one or two more other states that are going, or maybe even three states that adopt the additional laws this year.
Does it strike you as in Congress, perhaps, you've got the Biden administration, and Democrats in Congress, which are looking at more Second Amendment restrictions? They have stated that is a goal that they have. And yet, in the states across the country, as you said, 4 states so far this year, I believe you said,
right,
getting ready to implement or having actually signed into law constitutional carry. What's going on here with that juxtaposition of perhaps progressives and the Biden administration on the one hand, and increasing popularity, this trend of constitutional carry on the other hand?
Well, I think it's reaction to the Biden administration in part. A lot of the rules that the Biden administration is proposing are going to make it more costly for law-abiding citizens to be able to go and have guns to protect themselves and their families. And one of the reasons for the push for constitutional carry is to reduce the costs that are there, to try to offset the higher costs that the Biden administration is imposing and going to be imposing. I mean, they've been moving towards things like reinstituting Operation Choke Point, which will raise the cost for gun makers and gun sellers to operate by denying them financial assistance from banks and other financial institutions. The background checks that they're pushing are going to add significant costs to law-abiding citizens being able to go and obtain guns. There are other changes that they're making in terms of banning the importation of guns, which are going to make it much more costly for people to get guns. And I think this move to constitutional carry is a partial effort on the part of the states to try to offset all those additional costs that the Biden administration is putting on law-abiding Americans.
I just wanted to read you this statement from the governor of Iowa. Governor Kim Reynolds issued this statement on signing this constitutional carry legislation. We will never be able to outlaw or prevent every single bad actor from getting a gun, but what we can do is ensure law-abiding citizens have full access to their constitutional rights while keeping Iowans safe. It sounds like she may have been reading a book I heard of, More Guns, Less Crime, written by, I don't know, from someone named John Lott, I think.
Yeah.
Your thoughts
Right.
about that?
No, I mean, I think she's exactly right. Look, you have to be careful that the gun control laws that you're pushing are not primarily obeyed by law-abiding citizens and not criminals. I mean, you may have a law that reduces guns for criminals a little bit, but if it primarily makes it difficult or costly for law-abiding citizens to get guns, you're going to disarm them relative to criminals and actually make it easier for criminals to go and commit crimes. And I think the governor is exactly right on her point. You know, you look at a lot of these rules that the Biden administration's pushing for things like background checks and other regulations, and it's not going to be the criminals who are going to be paying the $100 fees to go through and do the background checks. It's going to be the most law-abiding Americans who are going to be bearing those costs.
Dr. John Lott, president of the Crime Prevention Research Center, thank you for joining us on One American News, sir. It's good to catch up with you.
Oh, thanks very much.
5, 4,